and a town where everybody knows his name. Please welcome John Ratzenberger.
Thank you, young man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Lou. I call Lou Abate, not about. Where are you, Lou? The Willie Ross School for the Deaf. Lou is truly one of the unsung American heroes, he and his staff there. If you ever have a chance, was it East Long Meadow, isn't it, near Springfield? There you go. Willie Ross School for the Deaf. Please go visit whenever you can. We've been working together now, what, about 10 years? About that, yeah, when we stumbled upon each other. And also, thanks for inviting me here, Lou. It's been very nice, nice afternoon. And is this microphone here working? So I'm okay here. Okay. I just wanted to make sure in case I have to run out there and want to continue the speech. And also, thank you for the gift, New Balance. Folks from New Balance, are you here? They gifted me with a pair of running shoes, so I take the hint. All right, so I did have dessert, and I'll be using them this afternoon on the way. But yeah, I grew up just down the pike here in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And at the time, Bridgeport was a thriving, very much alive factory town. We made, my mother worked in Remington Arms, made bullets, Singer sewing machines, Bridgeport Brass, Bridgeport Tool Machine Company. My uncles worked for. They were on Thanksgiving time. They would talk about tolerances of 1/10,000th of an inch, like the fate of Western civilization depended on it. And I'm a 10-year-old kid, so I made fun of them. That was my job at the time. And then the older I got, I realized that they were absolutely right. The fate of Western civilization depends on manufacturing. Manufacturing is to America what spinach was to Popeye. There's no question about it. There's no doubt. And during my journey, I went to university down there, but after university, I became a journeyman carpenter. Traveled through all these areas, this area, North Vermont, upstate New York, framing houses, putting on roofs and whatnot. Then I made it over to England, started my acting career there, did a little bit of carpentry, and then came back to Los Angeles, Cheers. I do all the Pixar movies, and then in the interim, I also did a show called Made in America, where I toured the country for 5 years. So I toured just about every state. And what I really wanted to do, because of my growing up in Bridgeport, because I remembered there was a night, I was picking up my mother from it was 11 o'clock at night. She was on the 3 to 11 shift. And I think it was my last year of college. And she was coming out, and there was a blizzard, one of the New England blizzards we're all familiar with here. And everybody was huddled against the cold, and they're running out to their cars. And I thought, there should be an audience here on bleachers, and every night, every day, at the end of every shift, there should be people saying, thank you very much for what you do for us every single day. Because everything that we do, regardless of who we are, every single thing we do depends on someone's ability to put a nut and a bolt together. You drove cars here. You crossed bridges coming here. You were on cement highways that depended on cement mixers, cement trucks that had to be manufactured. The Chinese aren't going to be manufacturing cement trucks for us, by the way, nor are they going to be manufacturing bulldozers or farm implements, equipment, combine harvesters. That's not going to happen. So when I was touring my show and going to all these 300 factories, what I discovered, the biggest worry is the fact that kids aren't being educated and no one's coming into the workforce. So statistically, I kind of worked it out with the average age of the workforce being, and you probably know this already, right? I mean, is this what you were talking about today? The average age of the workforce is what, about 55, 56 years old? Is that about right in your facilities? So there's nobody coming up after them, because kids graduate from high school now without the ability to read a ruler. And I know in some of your employment applications, and I know this for sure in a lot of companies I visited, they have a picture of a ruler, and the kids graduate from high school can't mark off 1 1/4 inches or 5 3/16. They just can't. So these are the kids that are what, going to be building our airplanes? And they can't graduate from high school, go into a job, they don't know a Phillips screwdriver from a ball-peen hammer. Now, most of us growing up, we did that. We thought we were playing. We thought we were outside. It was just, yeah, go out and play. Well, what did we do when we were playing? We were building a treehouse. We were on our bicycles. The chain broke. We had to figure out how to fix it. I mean, heck, we're 10 miles from home. You know, we don't have any money for a bus. Even if we had the money, we wouldn't know what to do with the bus. You know, here we are, 8, 9 years old. You got to figure it out. You got to fix it. But again, we thought we were playing. We didn't know that we were learning skills. So nationwide now, that does not happen anymore. I mean, when my kids were younger, you know, they're talking about play dates here. I said, wait a second. So I went out in the backyard, I dug a hole, turned on the garden hose, said, here you go. They were happy as clams. We don't let our kids get dirty anymore. Consequently, they don't have any common sense, by and large. Where do we get common sense? First time we get common sense usually is in a sandbox. You learn not to eat the sand. I remember my daughter's expression. You know, she was about 18 months old. Great, she's learning common sense. She'll never do that again. But that's where we learn it. Farmers. That's where you learn common sense. The Commandant of West Point once told me that the best officers come out off of farms. Probably the same holds true for sailors. And why is that? Because you have to take unrelated objects to fix a specific problem. You got a hole in the fence? Well, you got critters that are going to get out or going to get in. And you're not going to call 1-800-FIX-THE-FENCE. That doesn't exist. You got to figure it out. So what we've done nationwide is we've taken that ability back from our kids. We've stolen that from them. We've actually legislated it from them. In a lot of playgrounds now in schools, you can't play tag. What's that all about? You can't play tag because what? It's inappropriate touching? I mean, that's what they say. So all that common sense, how fast you can run. You know, so you fall down, you scrape your knee. So what? That's your job. You're a kid. That's what you're supposed to do. But right across the country, we've stolen that from the children. We've stolen the ability to get some common sense. Especially, and this is what I across the country talking about, and I talked to Congress about it, we need to reinstitute vocational training in schools. I was a carpenter because of the vocational training I got when I was in 7th, 8th grade. That's what gave me a love of woodworking. And my grandfather was a carpenter too, but still in all, I learned the basic skills in that shop class. So that's what kept me alive when I was pursuing my career as an actor.